Hey everybody, welcome back to Trading Brains, episode 17. Today we have a special guest again, CJ Nelson. You may know him from our previous episode, in episode 9, where we introduced him as a writer. Currently, he is the CEO of Revel Publications and Productions, or Revel Productions Publications. Woo! And as you know, since he's a writer, he's been working on a lot of different works. The book that we worked on together, and a comic book series called Alki and the Holic. And so I'll leave it to him to provide more details on that project.
I mean, Alki and the Holic is pretty simple. I grew up reading comics, and I always found that comedy was the best. I always found I don't know, just like the hilarity and like the basically anything was possible in comics. Like anything could happen.
Mm-hmm.
So me and the co-writer Ethan Nikolic and I were kind of messing around one night, and we had a couple to drink, and we came up with the idea of Alki and the Holic, which were two superheroes that had to get drunk to enable their powers, and they just go on misadventures and just I wouldn't even call it crime fighting. It's just it's just
Shenanigans.
It's shenanigans, yeah, just like crazy adventures.
So, with the two guys, Alki and Holic, right? That's their name.
Yeah.
Right? That's the superhero names, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Like, are they like two normal people, like two average Joes, but when the moment they drink, they have the ability to convert the alcohol into super strength, super speed?
So
Well, one of them's the son of like a famous brewer or something, right? Or distributor, was it?
well, Alki's backstory was a little bit more in the creation of alcohol. So his father creates this not the perfect whiskey, but almost the perfect whiskey, and then everybody was kind of like, "Oh, what's he gonna come up with next?" And then he decides to take metal from Chernobyl and make a still out of the metal, the irradiated metal from Chernobyl, and called it I think it was irradiated whiskey or something like that. And and it's just
So what, like irradiate all your sins away?
Yeah.
All your problems get irradiated?
I don't know.
Wasn't it a colossal failure?
Yeah, it was a colossal failure. Everybody got sick. A lot of people,
Yeah, understandably.
Death and Alki and the Holic, really. So it's just very, very light. It's never going to get, DC dark or anything like that.
Right.
But, a bunch of people got sick. His father basically went from fame to obscurity. And,
well, I read the first couple of pages, and, obviously, I know you're still working on getting an illustrator. But I got up to the point where they introduce Alki and the Holic. His name is actually the Holic, or it's just Holic?
We kind of left that obscure because it was just like, I don't know, like a non-factor.
Or even like a nickname, maybe.
His real name is Holly, and they will make fun of it. It could be
Holic.
Okay. It's just the Holic, It's just, it sounded better, It was never like,
No, it's like Dunkin' and Donut. You have twins. You call one in one donut.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
so if you were to say, like, are they like figures of justice, or are they just kind of vigilantes, or they're just going on these adventures and they encounter these crazy characters? And
so I guess they would be considered heroes because we do like we put, they don't save the world, they save the city, and the city is Brew York City.
Yeah.
Naturally. So I mean, they would be considered heroes because we made like amalgams of like, the worst things about a hangover, like headaches, the spins, we've created characters based on that, and it's, they fight that, I guess, and I guess that would be considered, heroes.
Well, in a way, like your neighborhood Spider-Man. So.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're helping other people fight it with like foods and drinks and sort of medicinal, like, assistance. No?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just with Alki and the Holic, it's so loose and fun that it's very. I don't know. It's really hard to categorize it into something. You know.
But why are people
Oh, we're not saying categorize it. Yeah, just I guess more backstory. Obviously, nothing that'll spoil the whole story itself, but that's
Hmm. Okay, so I guess I mean for us as the writers, when me and Ethan kind of started talking about it and getting this idea, we we came up with a bunch of ideas that night. And then when we woke up the next morning, we kind of looked at it and we were like, wow, we actually weren't rambling psychos. Like, this is actually, like, really good. We can make this something, just
so you
solid.
wrote all these ideas down.
We wrote everything down. We have a list of about 30 to 45 different heroes and
Hmm.
20 to 25 different villains. We got a lot
I can
of.
only imagine the villains.
Oh man, it's everything.
Can you give some away, like your favorite villain as of right now when you're writing all these comics?
Well, you're not gonna see it for a while, but my favorite so far has to be Crossfaded, and we really want to do a crossover with Kevin Smith's Blunt Man and Chronic, the the alternate personalities of Jay and Silent Bob, and they had a little bit of a running comic series that we kind of fed off. We were like, okay, what happens when you smoke marijuana and you drink a lot? Crossfaded, and then we came up with a bunch of stuff for Crossfaded, and that is probably my favorite villain. But he's not really a villain. He's just like I don't
Who
know.
you consider like a kind of like a Deadpool, like more like anti-hero?
I wouldn't consider him an anti-hero. I would just really call him a nuisance, if anything.
Okay.
And
But
nuisance.
yeah, but, Crossfaded probably was my
Well,
favorite.
Crossfade is probably a close friend of the Spins, no?
I can't give that away.
Okay.
Just
All right, don't. That's fine.
Who'd you have to
All right.
yeah.
So, Alki and the Holic, awesome.
Mhm.
Like, it sounds like a great premise. Really, like lighthearted, fun, series. Is there anything else you're working on right now in terms of comics?
We are. Well, I'm working on two others. One is more of a. I don't want to say a feel good story, but it's
like
like
a slice of life?
not really a slice of life, but it's like. So the title is called Angel and Lucy. So this girl is born with. I mean, I haven't really hashed everything out yet, but I've got half 75% of an issue written. But it's called Angel and Lucy, and this little girl, Angel, is born with psychic abilities, and word gets down to Lucifer, the devil, and he hears about this girl, and he basically makes it his mission to change this girl, like to have this girl work with him, and in a way they kind of feed off each other. While she's a timid, quiet little girl. She learns to stand up for herself, whilst her pureness and her goodness kind of shift his perspective on humanity and stuff like that. And another one we're working on is there's no really title for it yet, but it's like a like a Doctor Seussian apocalypse era type type. Well, I haven't really gotten whole hog into that one yet, but we're working on it. Yeah, I'd like to work more on comics, but with everything,
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's a lot to do, as CEO of Rebel. So.
well, it's finding the right artist for the job. While Alki and the Holic is in talks right now with an illustrator, it took us a really long time to find the right artist because the art needs to reflect the feeling of the book, the feeling of the comic. you can't have like the little chibis, the little
Yeah.
fat-headed, whatever. You can't have that in a deep, serious type, like emotion.
No, there's different ways.
So when you're kind of screening an illustrator, do you get sample drawings from them on a scene or like a particular chapter?
So what our process was, he didn't really we didn't really bother with resumes because you could have the best resume in the world, yet
your style of art is
it's
different.
the style of art doesn't work. We just don't feel it with the art. So we really we have people contact us, and when they contact us, say, "Oh, we're interested in XYZ, this project or that project or whatever." We're like, "Okay, so this is what we had an idea character-wise. So what would you do?" And we always want the artists to have their own little flair to it, have their own creativity put into it, like their style. So we'll say, "Listen, we have a bunch of people, different people submitting stuff. So, here's the character descriptions. Send us what you think. Send us what you think it would look like, and then we go from there."
You
Then
kind of give them like creative rights in the sense.
Oh yeah, 100%.
How they can describe depict on what you.
We give a pretty. We don't give a vague notion because we do have like ideas of what it would look like in our heads. So we're like, this is what we thought.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what would you add to it, or what?
How can you make this better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing let's just have a quick question to everyone for our viewers. You keep on saying Rebel, and Evan had brought up Rebel. Can you go about it? Like, what's Rebel, so our viewers can know what's going on?
No problem. Rebel Publications and Productions is a publications and productions company. I mean, we kind of deal in all forms of media. We have artists, painters, drawers, content creators, podcasters, writers, and we kind of help them get their stuff out there because I know as a writer how difficult it was to get my work out there. And I wish I had a company like Rebel say, "Okay, we think your work is good enough. Like, we want we want you as a content creator, as an artist, as whatever you are, to expose your work to the world." So that's what we really do. We say yes to people who have been told no, who have been kind of forced to, hit this cookie cutter shape, which is just ridiculous.
But had to be a freelance.
Yeah. So, I mean, we really admire independent artists and writers and all these creators that we want to like give back a little bit and kind of get their stuff out there.
So a follow-up question on that. So with the illustrator that you're currently working on, it's through Rebel that you found this.
Yeah. Actually, it was crazy. They reached out to us. They saw what we were about. Really liked what we were about, and said we would love to. She said, I would love to work on this project, and I said, it's fantastic. We'll get some samples going, and now we're getting on to the next step. So we're very lucky, actually. We have a lot of great people working with us right now.
All right, thank you for that intro. Yeah.
It's a little long, I think.
But back to the comics, right? I mean, I think that's probably one of the more interesting projects that I've noticed you working on. Obviously, we're writing a book together, and we're planning on writing more. But I'm really interested in seeing how the text I've read of the comic book gets turned into an actual illustration, or like the scene that I have in my head. How is it different from what's actually going to be created?
So with comics, it's, as a writer, you tend to fluff and add these wonderful little details and make it, so dense. And when we released the 3 issues of Alki and the Holic, a lot of people were like, "Wow, this is really good content." But how is that? Ask the same question. How is that going to transfer into a comic?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess simply it would be. It's hard. Like, I know it's hard to picture, but that, a few sentences of just description and detail and stuff is going to be one panel,
Mm-hmm.
and then then it'll switch to each panel, and the only thing that kind of sucks is you have to cut down on dialogue
Mm-hmm.
a lot.
You
And
do, and most of what's actually written content in the comic book is what the characters are saying themselves, right? Because if you have too much of those square boxes describing the scene, then it's not as
everything. It's just it would be way
But
too much.
that is the flaw. Like instead of being the words, it's the background.
Exactly.
well. The actual illustration is gonna,
Yeah,
it's
that's
gonna speak for
Yeah.
The fluff
that.
is
You
so.
could take out the really descriptive.
Gonna basically portray anything that I said it would look like, So that, I mean, it's definitely difficult. I mean, I've had to cut some dialogue with Afghan, and it's hard because I see it, and I'm like, oh, it's so complete. It's really good. But then you have to make sure that it's
good.
short, sweet, and to the point. Like
For
you could still
everyone
have
else.
funny quips and stuff like that, but it needs to be,
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you go through a bunch of edits, and agonize over, oh, is this the right, way to say this?
edits I did on it. A lot.
So with comics, like, have you, when you like writing Alcoholic, have you tried to pick different style of writing on like comics and books that you have read before? Is there something like you pick on? Like, oh, I like reading from this issue on Spider-Man, or just to give an example in this sense.
Yeah, no. Do I take anything from comics into what I write? I guess. I guess I try to take the clips from like Deadpool, Red Hood, these snarky yet badass characters, like the
And what do you mean
dialogue,
by, like quips,
like dialogue, just comebacks, like just this witty arrogance. But I think I try to make it, yeah, like the one-liners, all the small stuff that makes you kind of chuckle.
Small stuff that makes you chuckle. The one line, I mean, some of the one-liners from Deadpool are incredible. They're great. I haven't read much of Red Hood though.
Oh,
Like I've seen him in one of the animated films, but I haven't read
Under the
any
Red
issues.
On
Yeah.
the CW show they showed.
Under the Red Hood was one of the better animated Batman movies. I mean, they're all actually really good, but the Under the Red Hood was probably one of my favorites because one of my favorite actors, Jensen Ackles from Supernatural, he plays Red Hood, like voice acts for Red Hood, and he just makes it. Oh man, he makes it perfect. It was just really, really well done. But I'll take some stuff like that with dialogue wise, but other stuff I kind of try to stick to like my own, yeah, because I don't want people to read it and be like, oh, this is hints of Spider-Man.
A rehash of,
Yeah.
Well, some people like pickups like.
No, we definitely like poke fun, and we'll kind of hit on Marvel and DC a little bit, but we try to kind of stay our own. Yeah.
Is there like, besides being like Marvel and DC, but like if you had to and you really wanted to, like what would you pick from those two? Like if you really want to add something, right? And you had Marvel, and you had like I want to add something from this. It's like, and it's possible.
I know a lot of people aren't gonna like this, but DC.
It's probably CJ. Yeah, CJ's DC. I know him.
Yeah, the guy. Oh man, the way that the characters are written, I don't know. It is just.
It's not too dark.
You know what? I think the fact that it is dark. I don't think it's dark. I think it's a reflective of human nature and human struggle, like conscious struggle, and I think that's more relatable than Marvel. And I'm not saying anything bad about Marvel because I do love Marvel comics. I love Marvel, but DC I can relate to more as a human than.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I see a lot of comic strips and like just like a full page of Superman who's saving this woman who's like trying to off herself, um,
Mm.
or when Batman's having this soliloquy to himself talking about like how dark and terrible everything is, but I have to keep going and blah blah blah. Uh, it, DC definitely has more of that human element, I would say, at least from what I've read.
There's just so much like there's human struggle. Like it's literally like just it's I don't know. It seems like you would go through it if you were in that position. Like people have gone through it. I mean, Batman constantly struggles with himself. I mean, it's hard to like everybody knows Batman doesn't kill. That's big number one. And his main, villain, the Joker. He could easily throw him off the top of a building or break, kill him. Yet he doesn't because there is such a moral code, but he struggles with it. He struggles with it. I mean, to go back to Red Hood, uh, Red Hood was uh, a young boy who was.
Spoiler alert.
Oh.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
But
The people who ever want to read it or watch it or whatever.
Well, that's why I said spoiler alert. That's why I said spoiler alert.
If you don't know who Red Hood is or any of that stuff, just I don't know what you do. Pause it or fast forward or whatever.
Yeah, fast forward.
Hold your ear and say la la la.
Yeah. But Batman adopts this young boy from the street, Jason Todd, and Batman has a habit of doing that, adopting kids.
Yeah.
And,
he wasn't adopted, but he was orphaned.
Yeah. So he adopts this, street kid, Jason Todd. This kid's like a little bit rough, and he doesn't have the same moral standing as Batman does. Jason sees it more as kill him, kill him, crimes off the street, whatever. But he kind of trains him to be Robin, and then he was so heartbroken when Joker kidnapped him, beat him to death with a crowbar, and Batman finds him and is just not sobbing but tearing, and you just see that human connection that there was a real love there, and then eventually he throws him in the Lazarus pit and comes back to life. And then he becomes the Red Hood, and he resents Batman, but that's a whole different daddy issue situation there. But
yeah, and that's human too. That's part of
human
the relationships.
And because he got thrown into the Lazarus pit,
he resented him because it's like, oh, you have this strict moral code. He wanted to off villains. He wanted to it's like you didn't. He was more upset because he didn't kill the Joker because the Joker killed him.
Gotcha.
Right.
He saw it as some sort of,
weakness.
Yeah. So he came back as the Red Hood.
He thought it was a solution as killing people.
Exactly.
Instead of put them into the justice system.
Exactly.
Okay.
What do you think, CJ? If you were Batman, would you kill?
Oh, unfortunately, I'm more of a red hoodie kind of guy. I do think that certain people deserve to be spared, yet others.
But then
there is no.
Where do you draw that fine line, though?
Yeah, that's the difficult part. I mean, that is why we have the justice system. So people who do actually repent and change.
I obviously can't. I shouldn't be drawing that line, but I think if I were to draw a line, it would be rapists and pedophiles. That would probably be the only ones that are, you
To
know,
kill.
but that's just me. I mean, I think there's a certain point where, rehabilitation is not, you know, effective, or it's not.
It's effective to a
it's
Or it's
point.
not
impossible.
a possibility. Yeah.
Evan, do you have a fine line then? Like, if you were Batman, would you kill?
Depends on what the perpetrator's done.
Mm.
Yeah, but
Well,
of course you'd have to define the line.
Yeah.
So I would agree with what CJ said. Rapists and pedophiles just
I think
okay,
that's
done. But
There's
let's
no.
let's go with that's the norm. So if someone's a murderer, would you kill him? And I'm
no,
saying kill baby, like I'm saying
no,
like
no, no.
There are some
I
lines.
would.
There's accidental murder. There's it's shit like stuff like that.
so I'm just saying like would you be more like Redwood like okay you're a criminal you're supposed to be off like you're dead or you're gonna be like Batman be like okay you're gonna get thrown into
Arkham.
court Arkham
Yeah,
prison or
yeah.
rehab or
Well,
whatever the case may be and let course takes a course for that person.
I just.
I'm just
Yeah,
trying to make
no,
a point
I
because
know,
like when
yeah.
you have that moral compass.
Mhm.
Do you stay on that straight path and not kill, or you go and just stop
Make
lobbing?
exceptions every
Make
now and then.
if you're making an exception, then later on it's like
Yeah.
okay, you killed that person for the exactly same
See that?
reason, but you're not killing that person. Why? And I know it's going to be hard. It's very hard to say, hey, why this person and why me, or why
Yeah.
not, and whatever. It's just either you do or you don't. But in this situation,
Yeah.
let's just say the Joker kills your family. I think that deserves that person killed
Mm.
or to be killed.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a I can't be a superhero. I have such inconsistencies, like with just I don't know with certain ways that I feel because I get as a person I'm just an emotional person, so I might you know I might in my head be like, okay, this is not worth it, but who knows? Who knows how far you can go when you're just letting emotions take the wheel.
Mhm.
And that's why Batman is actually one of my favorites because he has that emotional control and a very logical, concise way of thinking. It's very grounded. It's always like I don't get emotional to the point that I will make a mistake. Whereas Superman has done that, and Superman has killed, and there's an issue. I mean, Green Arrow used to kill like scores of people,
But then try to go in the
and
path and not
change
try not to
their
kill.
path, and then that's also that struggle. Like, how can I redeem myself? How can I become a better person? And how can I, change
Well,
certain
a lot of
things?
these superheroes they go in this course of if you save someone's life, is it
Mhm.
really do you kill another person to save that person's life,
Yeah.
or you put them away long time so they can reflect themselves, or is
Yeah.
that a version of saving that person's life? Because then you could go on. And superheroes actually do go and they're not crazy, but they do better.
No, it's just
themselves.
it's a
if-
moral dilemma. I mean, they truly believe the weight of the world is on their shoulders, and every loss or you know what I mean. Like they always contemplate what could I have done differently to save certain people. You know what I mean? It's definitely a moral struggle, and I definitely think that could drive you to a very frantic point where you're like, am I doing more harm than good? Like, am I actually helping people?
I have a question going back from our previous topic.
Mm.
So you know how like we all can say like Stan Lee and Spider Man, like Stan Lee's favorite superhero that he created, Spider Man,
Oh, yeah.
or anyone else. But I'm guessing Spider Man. Do you think Alcoholic can be like your S of like Spider Man?
Oh no, no! I don't. I wouldn't even think that it would compare to the work of
Alki and
Spider-Man.
the Holic should be the main comic.
More in the fact of like the emotional attachment that like Stan Lee had
Oh.
on Spider Man.
Yeah, For me, at least. For me, 1000%. Alcoholic are my other other children besides
Yeah,
my
you got
real
like twins.
child.
Like you having twins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have a really good connection with them because I just love writing them so much.
Okay.
I like the silliness. I like the like just the lightness and just
The
easy.
shenanigans that
Yeah,
they do.
just it's
Okay,
kind of
it
like
reminds
when
you of what you did when you were younger.
yeah, and when I write books like the one that me Evan and I are writing, it's very dark, emotional, kind of brooding, and very
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
it's not light. And when I sit writing that for a couple days, and then I get to write Elkie and the Holic, I'm kind of just like I feel better, like I feel lighter, and I'm like, okay, wow, I'm out of like because you have to when you write something, you have to put yourself in that state, like that, like the mindset, and then when you're in that writing that kind of dark, brooding, book for a while, you're kind of like, okay, well, I got to back up a little bit. I gotta write something different. I gotta write something lighter, and it kind of forces you to change your mindset a little bit and just not get happier, but like, okay, I feel a little bit better. I can breathe a little bit more. You're not taking yourself as seriously as it, and that's probably what I like most about it. And it's probably why I like it. You know,
Can you
but
elaborate a little bit on the book that we're writing together?
yeah, of course. I mean, the Fallen Few, the Forgotten Few. Sorry, the Forgotten Few. Blood Moon on the Rise is one. Oh, it was my first. My first book, and Evan was the one of the first people that I went to, and he wanted to collaborate on it with me, and we took him on, and we've been pretty much writing ever since, and it's a, I would say, a supernatural action adventure kind of deal where it's three unlikely unlikely allies trying to save the world, and that's probably where I take a little bit from DC, from that emotion and that human struggle. It's you know an evolution of characters, of one character being from you know ancient times. He's thousands of years old and kind of thrown into 2019, 2018, 2019, and forced to change and understand like what the world is. And then somebody coming down and another character coming down from the heavens and learning to become human, to become you know to have emotion and to I don't know to find
Live
more.
with mortal limitations.
Exactly. And then there's a human born on Earth thrown into a world of supernatural creatures that want to eat him, kill him, or skin him alive, and he him stepping up to be the hero when not everybody else would, and just changing from a frightened boy to a hero. I and I like the way the book's written, and there are three different perspectives and stories, and you see the evolution in every character, which I I love. But yeah, it's a fantastic
All right.
book. Everybody should
Thank
read
you.
it.
Yeah, thank you for elaborating on it. Yeah, I think all our viewers should read our book. I would love it if they got a copy and could even give us reviews or let us know what they liked about the book.
Oh, and be prepared for more. Me and Evan have about 4 or 5 more books to go. So
Yeah. Yeah, we do. All right.
Like with this, like I don't have any more. Like I haven't
You have
really.
any more? I mean, well, mostly we've been talking about comic books. So, one question I wanted to ask is like, what are your favorite characters of all time? And I have a feeling that I know who CJ gonna pick, but Angela, I don't know who you're gonna pick. So let's just get started with CJ. Get it out of the way.
Okay, so we really want to go into this rabbit hole. I thought we were going to save this for later on, but okay, let's jump into it.
Well, okay, all right. If you have anything else to cover, I mean, I think we talked about Alki. We talked about our book and
all that stuff. No,
well, CJ's inspiration for his characters and for his other books.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else, CJ? Do you have, before we get into the favorite characters, do you have anything else you're kind of thinking about but you just haven't written down yet in terms of comics?
Unfortunately, I have severe ADHD or ADD, and I have hundreds of ideas written that I just haven't been able to get onto
So,
any.
and you're keeping it all to
Any
yourself,
secret.
so no one can beat you to the punch.
Yeah, I know. I keep them locked away in my phone. Like it's really bad. I know. As a writer, I have a day job, which is I know shocking, but
shocking.
my boss,
I have a day job too. We all have day jobs.
he's always yelling at me. I was hanging on a building. I was working on a building in Jamaica, Queens, and I was hanging up on the cooling tower, just writing down ideas. And my boss is like, "Hey, did you do what I need you to do?" I'm like, "Oh no, sorry. I'll get right on it." And he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm advancing my career, sir." And he's like, "This is your career. Get back to work." Okay, all right. I guess I do. I have to do what you say, but yeah, yeah,
Well, for now.
yeah. For now. I really think.
So, favorite superhero?
Okay, so
Yeah, let's get into that.
How many are we doing? Because I
how
can
about-
No, whoa.
We'll make
Just
this short.
limit me.
One Marvel, one DC.
All right,
You're
could do that.
putting handcuffs on.
Because you could go on for
Putting handcuffs on.
like this
No,
person.
I know.
No, one and one.
I know.
Done.
I know.
'Cause it's not. This episode will be 24 hours long.
No. Okay.
Doesn't even have to be hero. Like he could be a villain or even somebody who's kind of neutral.
So, all right, I'll go with DC first. I think Swamp Thing by far is my favorite superhero, but he's not really a superhero. He's more of just an elemental being that has one simple purpose, and I just think it's beautiful. Actually, two.
Let's protect the marshes.
Two simple purposes: protect the marshes
Like Shrek.
and protect the love of his life. And I just the way that it was written, just the pure emotion that comes out of it is it's beautiful.
It's his love of life, a donkey.
No,
Is it a bird?
don't test me.
Huh?
I said, is it a bird?
No, I was about to say donkey like Shrek. The
No,
swamp.
Oh, yeah, right.
but just the way that it was written, I mean, I could compare it to having.
Swamp Thing is so annoying to fight in Injustice. I just have to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, yeah.
All right, so that's DC.
DC. You know what? I'm not go obscure on this one. Marvel, I'm gonna say by far, Spider-Man.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a tie between Spider-Man and Captain America because I think Spider-Man was a turning point for Marvel to introduce that emotion, the human struggle in the characters. In like, oh my God, he's a superhero, but he has human problems. Like he has like actual people problems. Like he's a nerd and people
Peter
beat him
Tingles.
up. Yeah, and
Right.
his weird Peter tingles. Like that's like I don't have CJ tingles, but
Not
whatever. I hope
I hope
not.
you don't.
Yeah, but it's a real.
No, here comes a stroke.
They human a superhero, and Stanley put it in a great way. Like when he proposed Spider-Man, people were like, "Okay, first off, why does he have human problems? Second off, who's gonna ever like a character named after spiders? Like people don't like spiders."
Right.
And then when they first came back, Spider-Man did amazing. And then the same people came back. They're like, "Oh, you remember that character Spider-Man that we love so much?" And he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like,
you guys are all drunk.
yeah, but it was just such a turning point for Marvel where I was like, "Wow, and just the stories are, God, they're really good."
Evan?
Oh, I'm next. Okay. All right. I guess I'll start with DC. I think for DC, I would have to say Green Lantern.
Ooh,
And I know there's a lot of different Green Lanterns, but I'm gonna go with the first, Hal Jordan. Yeah. Because and I found this out later that Hal Jordan himself actually kind of sacrifices himself to destroy. It was like the deity that controls the yellow rings. I'm forgetting his name right now, but he becomes like the Green Spectre, and at some point, Hal Jordan, like the spirit of Hal Jordan himself, actually becomes a villain. So it was interesting as a character to see how he was this great, pilot, and then he got chosen by the Green Ring or the Lantern rather, and was a force for good. But then, things happened in his life that kind of changed who he was, and he became, a bad guy. And then another Green Lantern like successor was fighting him and defeated him. So I always thought that was an interesting character. Huh?
great comic.
Oh yeah.
Great character.
And then Marvel. Marvel, I would have to say Captain America.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, even throughout all the recent films, he's been my favorite character.
That's his ass.
Huh? Oh, that's America. Yeah. That scene. I know. I knew Angela was thinking about that. Anyway, so yeah, I've always liked Captain America as a series, and I mean even before I saw the movies, I didn't know his whole backstory. Like the first Captain America film where he got the injection and they made him, and that the first, like when they were making the Hulk, they were actually trying to imitate that. There was also a super soldier program, but they were using gamma radiation instead. Huh?
Bruce Banner didn't know that it was a super soldier program. I think the government lied to him and said that it was, for other humanitarian reasons.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm
That's
sure they had a good reason to keep it a secret. So, and even then, there was a spy. So.
Yeah. But yeah, good fall. America is, I don't know. There's just something about him that draws attention, and it's just not just attention.
I think
but
his strength of heart and his value, right? Like he sticks to what he says, and he also believes in inspiring others to feel that way as well, right? He motivates other people to be their best version of themselves, and I think that's something that I really like about Captain America. Because on his own, is not like a super strong hero like Thor or Iron Man or Hulk, right? But
I think he's only got this. I mean, only in a very, very,
short time.
No,
limited capacity.
Yeah, he's got the. I mean, compared to others, he's only got the strength of about 10 men.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, while that is
a lot,
fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's nothing compared to
Hulk
or the Hulk. Jesus.
Yeah. So those are mine.
All right.
Angelo. Yeah, you. You're not getting out of this.
I know.
I will have to go.
I know what you're gonna say.
I'm gonna say the Flash.
Oh wow.
Oh, the Flash. Shocking.
It doesn't matter. The guy travels time and the fastest man alive. Or it depends on what universe you want to talk about. He is the fastest man alive.
I mean, we'll see.
Isn't he?
Who? Him?
No.
Wait, isn't Superman faster than him though?
Huh?
No.
I thought Superman was faster than the Flash.
No, they did.
They addressed that in the comics, and
it's the Flash one.
Flash one.
My boy.
My boy. Okay, all right, Angelo. Well, elaborate. What made you choose the Flash?
Yeah, why the Flash? Why, you know?
Besides the shiny red suit, no. It was more like it's like he had like so like his mom died when he was very young.
Mhm.
Dad went for something that he didn't do.
Mhm.
Okay, tragic backstory. But in the
Tragic.
fact of like every time he had to fix a problem, he had to look back and it's like, okay, if I fix this, let me go back in time. And he always used his past to make his future, to create his new future. And like with that like problematic that like how I feel like people always think about the past. Like in DC I feel like he's like the more human of the the people in the DC because he always uses traumatic passes to decide for his future.
Yeah.
Or use that as a fix.
Well, he always uses it to his strengths.
Yeah.
He always uses it to push him forward, never to drag him back. While as Batman, you could see that in it kind of pulling him
toll.
back. And
It takes a toll for him
while the Flash takes it in stride. I see what you're saying. No.
Yes, he's like when also he's the fastest like
The
for me
fastest
the fastest man alive. He thinks so quickly on his feet
Yeah.
that like yeah, he might not be the strongest man alive, but he can generate electricity out of his hand by just going a little bit faster.
Yeah.
So simple as just run, Forrest, run, or run, Barry, run. It's as simple as that he could create a kilowatt of electricity just rolling from his fist and let it go and attacking someone. That Thor needs a hammer to conduct his electricity or another weapon.
Yeah.
That he can just go rub his hands and presto,
when he
or he
vibrates his hands, yeah.
For me, like the Flash, like his moral compass as well. Like he tried not to kill, but he has the ability to kill.
Oh, easily.
He could
with
kill
his
someone.
phasing?
Yeah, he could just face through your body and just put your hand into your body,
into your heart. You saw that in the show.
In the CW shows, yeah.
Grab somebody's heart.
But he chooses not to, and he doesn't have. He has not.
There is definitely a higher moral ground than a lot of. I mean, Batman just beats people to a pulp, while the Flash shows a lot of restraint for what he can do.
Depending on the person, he could just go run as fast as he can, just put handcuff on you, or the power.
Well, he also suffocates people with making a twister, right? So.
Yeah, if you're put on, if a superhero or supervillain has.
But you never see him fight to excess. He will never beat somebody to the point where
his first thing is how can I capture you?
Yeah.
Or how can I stop you of doing this?
Yeah.
I think depending on the villain. I mean, remember when he fought? I think it was the second season when he fought.
Because that was,
you had to.
You know, the person,
like he had killed, but like it's like I think in order to kill like basically you in a sense like the superpowers and all that stuff, he's technically was faster than him in that time.
Yeah.
He had to basically either get rid of him or have the Time Force take him out.
Yeah.
And what happened as well. And then other Savitar, we could go on with this. But,
no, I know. But yeah. No.
But put it on a nail in the coffin with the Flash. It's just I feel like to my standard, he's the most human superhero, meta-human in the DC universe. Just because I like his emotion and how he used that as a power.
I can agree with you with that. Yeah, I feel like he's.
And then we'll go over to Marvel. I have between the two, but I think it's a tie. But I will go with my better one. I will say Doctor Strange.
Oh man.
Pretentious prick.
I don't even care about that. I mean, just Doctor Strange is awesome.
Yeah, I not even like he's just awesome. It's a pretentious prick that like legit just he lost his power to save people's lives.
So he looks for the alternative.
He looks for the alternative, but he thought that he would able to learn it so quick that he realized that he's a normal, average human being. To learn,
he's an average wizard.
And now he's a super.
An average wizard. Yeah.
Control one time or dimensions, multiverse.
That's just opening a can of worms with him because he's
but the ability
he's powerful on 7, 8 different levels of just.
Hulk comes at him. Okay, no problem. Let me just open up a dimension. Close your
Yeah.
hand. Boom. No more hand.
Yeah. Or,
Chop-
yeah.
Chopped off the Hulk hand.
Yeah, I mean, I remember reading the Infinity Gauntlet series, like the comic itself, and he was one of the first people. Like the Silver Surfer was like, "Hey guys, Thanos is he's kind of collecting the stones right now," and he goes to Doctor Strange first, and he's one of the first people to learn even in the movie series too,
Silver Surfer.
about it. Huh?
He was the herald, quote unquote.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense then.
He was. I mean,
Like the Paul Revere. The British are coming. The British.
Like the Paul Revere, yeah, pretty much. Thanos is coming.
Thanos is coming, run, hug your kids.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he was Galactus, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
What?
He was a servant of Galactus, correct?
Yeah, but Galactus knew what was up, even in the comics, and Galactus is fighting with everybody against Thanos, only out of necessity, because he's like, if Thanos gets control of everything, then I can't eat
then-
worlds anymore, you know.
Like, oh, it's really, really tasty, and then then there was that whole issue.
But like going back to the Doctor Strange on like my favorite Marvel character, it kind of like brought him to to everyone's level. That like saying like he's not how he's supposed to be. Like he can't be this arrogant prick anymore, or this like
It knocked him down a few notches.
yeah. And it kind of brought him to reality that like he needs to learn and become a student to life.
Yeah, it helps him become humble about it.
Well, it definitely it threw him into a, like he was a man of science. Like he believed in like there is only strict
Magic was not a
defined
thing.
line of human anatomy, biology, all that stuff, and then he's thrown into a world of
Magic.
I know nothing.
Yeah.
And
and he became basically a student forever, and that's the concept of where I'm coming back is everyone needs to understand that you're going to be a student to everything you do in your life. You can't be a master of everything, or it's going to take you years and years to become a master of one thing. But the moment you do something else, you're always going to be a student.
Yeah.
And that's why
you have to work. I feel like that's a
like
big
hard work ethic. It's all.
I mean,
it's all
they
components.
showed it in the movies when he.
Well, I think Doctor Strange himself was able to apply
astral projection to
start reading more books. But that's what I'm saying. Like it just.
Well, also, I wouldn't suggest trying astral projection to any of your viewers. Probably don't do that.
Wait. What?
So.
He astral projected in the movie to read books.
So like he created like in language he created like a spirit form of him
where
his body.
His conscious was sitting there reading books while his body got rest. So when he would basically read for 24 hours a day.
Right.
Then, basically give his physical and mental
his physical body
the rest
while he
his soul or his astral
whatever it was, his spirit
to
mind
to start reading and learn more tricks, more spells, more whatever he was reading.
Can't wait for the second. That looks so
same
good.
here. I can't wait for that. But like it's more like I like Doctor Strange because he became this #1 doctor in the world, can save anyone and anything, and top of his line to. Oh, you think you're that good? No, you're not.
Yep.
Now you become worms are better than you. You start learning.
Yeah.
And then he knows where he's there.
Yeah.
Now he's still pretentious and he still think he's better than some people, but he's always
most people. He still thinks he's better than most people.
Oh.
Yeah, 100%. That's Loki 100%.
In the comics.
That's why Thor when he was in his house, he's just like you just hear all of the hammer just destroying everything.
That was probably one of the better Marvel. But I always like to with Doctor Strange, I love the relationship between him and Tony Stark because they're both arrogant dicks. Yet Doctor Strange is on another level of just intellectually he's smart and spiritually he's just with it. And and with Tony Stark, just the banter is great.
He's hip to it.
I guess the kids would say he's woke. I don't really know.
Huh.
But,
you basically if you
but
have
the best parts about the comics are like Iron Man flying up to Doctor Strange and being like, "Hey, we're beard buddies, right?" Like, 'cause they have the same goatee and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
He's like, "I hate you, like go away." Like, the banter is great. It's like
The friendly banter.
the friendly banter, but it's also like a competitive kind of thing because Tony Stark doesn't. I mean, while he is open to that spiritual, like obviously with Doctor Strange being there, but
Yeah.
he's more of a finer line of science and explanation of things. But I always found that to be really interesting.
I think Tony Stark probably knows as much as Doctor Strange does about how long it took Doctor Strange to learn all that stuff and become that good.
Yeah.
So.
no, just I think back. I feel like all the superheroes that we have talked about, it's 6 different superheroes. It's not like we had one superhero the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you go where I'm going to try and wrap the point.
I'm kind of glad because we were able to cover all sorts of different characters.
Yeah, and the different morals or why we think about these are the best one, because we can all be like, okay, Captain America and Green Lantern, we all like the same one, and the whole concept will be not like why did you like him the most, or what you know more about him than anyone else to consider who the better,
right,
or better.
Personally, I agree with you 100%, and I like to go a little bit deeper into it because I think certain characters speak to certain people. And there's just, you can, like, the beauty about comics is you can find a superhero that speaks to you. You can read Moon Knight, you can read Superman, you can...
So we can pick Star-Lord,
Martian Manhunter, and you can...
Ant-Man.
You can relate to them, or not you can relate to them.
No, yeah.
Yeah, you can relate to them, and you can sit there and be like, wow, this is like it's something that I enjoy, and I don't know, I understand where they're coming from, or I can understand their struggle, which is
to our viewers. Leave a comment saying who's your favorite superhero or anti-hero or anyone in the Marvel universe as well as the DC universe.
Or Dark Horse comics. I mean, we're not going to leave anybody out, so.
Dark Horse, there's so many different comics out there, and it's just like it's great that it's so endless because I will never get to the. I love the fact that I'll never get to the end. I'll never one day be like, wow, I've read all the comics, and that's it. And then I'm so distraught because I don't know what to do with my life. I will never be able to end. It's fantastic. There's a real beauty in it, I feel like.
Yeah, no, there is. Because there's always new content, and there's new ways to tell the same story. It's like the human struggle that everyone goes through, just that are like just factual realities of being a human, and some of the issues that we deal with. A lot of them are just portrayed in story, and that's why we recognize and really fall in love with these stories and these characters.
Oh man, I love comics.
Yeah, that's all there is to it.
One short, like with the superheroes, that's why I want to do 1-on-1 because we could have gone forever.
I would have went off. Everybody said, you're like name your favorite superheroes. I was like, I got 50 off the top of my head. I'm ready to tell you their backstories, abilities, everything.
Their aunt.
All right.
No, but I just want to say thank you guys for listening to this week's episode. Like, it's really thank you for coming.
Oh, of course, man.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, CJ. Thank you, listeners, for episode 17, Training Brains, comic book analysis.
Just leave us a like, follow us. Comic, like leave a comment of your favorite superhero in on all three realms, right? And just let us know what you want us to talk about for next future episodes as well. Um, yeah, no, it was a great episode. Thank you for having us. Thank you for telling us about the Rebel, your
Oh, of
comic
course.
Alcoholic, as well as the Forgotten Few, right? I got that
Yes.
one right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys can find Alcoholic on Facebook, right? On the Rebel Publication Productions page.
Yep.
We'll
You can
put
find
that in the
everybody
bio.
on, you can find all that on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Alcoholic has 3 issues, longhand, written out, that you could check out just
Kind
to
of
get a
like a
little,
short story.
yeah, just like a short story, kind of
Kind
get
of
a
get the
little taste,
background.
get a little taste of it, and, hope you guys follow and stuff. It's going to be one hell of an adventure.
All right, it's been great, guys. Thanks for joining us. Bye bye.
Bye, friends.